And awake. Very good. What's that? You don't remember how you got here? Oh, well, you're doing an excellent job. First of all, I want you to relax. This is simply part of the hypnosis process. You actually don't remember the last hour of the session that you've been spending with me. Is that correct? Well, don't worry about it at all. That just means that the process is working well. Let's continue, shall we? Now, I want you to concentrate on the sound of my voice. I want you to hear what I'm saying, but particularly I want you to hear the sound of my voice. I want you to hear the rumble in the lower registers of my voice. And I want you to think of an avalanche. You are the avalanche. You are not in the avalanche. You are not a person. You are the avalanche. And the mountain is everything causing you problems. You are now cascading over the mountain. You are covering up all of the problems. And in particular, you are becoming a way of smashing through every obstacle in your path. You are powerful. You are unstoppable. No one stops an avalanche. Only people run from it. Only people hide from it. And only people submit to the avalanche. And that is you rumbling down and down and down. And your eyes are closed. Keep your eyes closed for just a moment as you imagine that avalanche settling down on the mountain. You can see the dust settling. You can see the smoke and the debris and the boulders and the trees that were all of the things in your way have been absolutely smashed. Now, I want you to open up your eyes and I want you to envision the one thing that has been a barrier to you this entire time. I want you to imagine a plate of food. That's right. What kind of food were you imagining? Yes, it is your favorite. Now, you have a problem that sometimes you eat food that you know you should not, that sometimes you eat more than you should have. This is something that happens to everyone on the planet, but you are trying to do something about it. The fact that you are here in this session means that you are trying to gain healthy habits to help you lose weight and to be healthy. Now, I want you to take your spoon, specifically your spoon, and I want you to dig it into the plate. And you see that the spoon passes through the plate, passes through the food. You cannot touch it. This is one of the many exercises that I will give you to help you stop eating this food. When you see this food in particular, you will imagine that even if you tried to eat it, your spoon would harmlessly pass through it. Your spoon would harmlessly pass through it. And therefore, there's no point to eating it. It would only frustrate you. It would only make you angry. It would only make you sad. And so when you pick up that spoon, I want you to think, pass through, pass through, pass through. Remember that phrase. And the next time you pick up a spoon, I want you to remember, pass through, pass through, pass through. And that phrase will allow you to put down the spoon, because there is no reason to consume that food. Now, if the time comes to pick up a fork and a knife with which you will use to cut the food, I want you to imagine something very specific. When you attempt to cut into the food, you will feel as though your leg is the food. Now, I know this is graphic, but we are taking extreme measures to help you. You will imagine that your leg is the food, and if you cut into it, you might bleed. You might even bleed to death. Now, you will not do this all the time, but if you see that food, and you know that you are not to be eating it, you know in your heart and your mind that you are not to be eating it, you will remember bleeding leg, bleeding leg, bleeding leg. Every time you pick up a knife to cut with a fork, you will remember bleeding leg, bleeding leg, bleeding leg. You will be able to see it in your mind, that leg bleeding. The blood is red. It makes you nauseous. You do not want to touch that knife. Now, finally, the one that causes you the most problems, that fork. Now, I want to give you the skills you need to resist picking up that fork when you are not truly hungry. If you pick up that fork and you know in your mind and in your heart that you are not to be eating that food, I want you to imagine dipping that fork into the food. And when you pull it up, instead of the food that you want to eat, you will only be able to see a tightly bound knot of wet human hair. That's right. And if you have done so, you will have no choice but to put that in your mouth. You will have to feel the texture of another human's hair in your mouth. It will grate as you chew on it. You will feel the individual hairs sticking to the roof of your mouth, and you're not even sure if when you swallow that you will not choke on the human hair, the wet human hair. So the next time you pick up a fork to eat food that you are not to be eating, I want you to remember wet human hair, wet human hair, wet human hair. Very good. Now, if this feels somewhat disturbing, that is all right. We are doing negative reinforcement on the foods you are not supposed to be eating. With the spoon, you will remember passing harmless through, frustration, do not bother. With the knife, you will remember cutting your leg. With the fork, you will remember wet human hair. These will give you the tools you need to avoid the food. So you will still want to eat, but now your mind will focus on something that you can eat, something that will give you joy. I want you to think about your favorite fruit. Very good. That's mine too. I want you to think about your favorite fruit and what you can do when you eat it. I want you to imagine biting in to your favorite fruit. Think about how cool it feels in your mouth. Think about how happy it makes you when you eat your favorite fruit. When you bite in to your favorite fruit, when you close your eyes, and I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Now, eyes closed, you will imagine a gorgeous beach. You are along the beach. Beautiful women and men are walking down the beach. The surf is splashing. The palm trees are swaying behind you, and you are reclining on the beach. Perhaps later you will go and swim. Perhaps you will simply lay here and sunbathe all day. But this is what happens every time you bite into your favorite fruit. And so, if you feel the frustration of the spoon that passes harmlessly through, or cutting the leg, or the wet human hair, I want you to remember that there is relief, there is joy, there is happiness. And before you go home today, I need you to stop by the store, and I need you to purchase your favorite fruit. Have it ready to go. Have it ready and available. And the next time you feel one of those negative reinforcements, the next time you imagine that ball of wet human hair going into your mouth, I want you to remember that that fruit is waiting for you in the refrigerator. I want you to open your eyes if you have not done so already, and I want you to see that fruit. I want you to see it in your hand. I want you to think about the beach, think about the waves, think about how good you feel wearing that swimsuit. And you will feel even better about it after this session. We're going to continue and go even deeper. 3, 2, 1, sleep.